Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope each and every one of you are having an absolutely amazing day so far. Amazing start to your week. Yes, it is Monday. Got a very gorgeous day as we are in the middle of July. Yeah, and so for today's topic, as I swing around my swing right here, enjoying the outside for just a little bit, shady. This is sort of the time that I get right after I'm done working for the day. Because, there's only about 5 hours I work every day. I've told everybody that, so don't need to go into the whole nitty gritty about that. But I think as far as me reflecting on today, there's something I want to talk about that is what I like to call a little close to the heart. And for those that will understand. And it's the beautiful thing about these videos. I don't expect a whole lot of views for these videos. I don't even expect a whole lot of likes, because a lot of the information that we talk about here are for certain people, right? That's the beautiful thing about what you create. Is one thing you understand is that your product is not meant for the entire world. Yes, there's 8 billion plus people counting. They're going to be here creating their absolutely amazing paths, destinations, destinies, ideas. And again, I say this in saying that I don't know what everyone goes through. I really don't. But I do feel for a lot of the people that are out there, no matter where you are at right now. And for this, it's something that, as an empath, life path number 11, we'll get to all these topics and things and concepts later on in the journey. But one thing that I know, for me at least, that is a little, what I like to call triggering, what I like to call hard to not deal with, because I know what it is and I can't deal with it. But as far as those battles that I have with myself, and battle is such a very intense, triggering word, but I guess for stopping the beating around the bush, we're going to talk about being a volcanic wave of volcanic tidal wave of emotions. Now, what do I mean by that? For me, I can get into my emotional state sometimes, whether I'm watching an amazing movie that kind of puts tears to my eyes. I always say that real men do cry, right? You can't, I don't believe in the whole, oh man, you got to hide your emotions and be a man bull crap that's put out on the internet. Now, if that works for you, that works for you. I'm not here to, in fact, saying that bull crap statement right there might be a little triggering. So, I'm not trying to be like that guy that says, that thinking is wrong. But I truly do believe that you can cry as a guy. It's okay. A lot of people need to start doing that more, in my opinion. But anyway, enough about my opinion. That's not important. So what I do want to say is, I can get into my emotions. Again, going back to movies and, of course, what's going on in all the parts of the world that are oppressed. Ukraine, what's going on in Ukraine, for example, what's going on in the Middle East, what's going on in all these countries that are outside the United States, where, if you think about it, a lot of people are going to say a lot of things about America, and that's their opinion, that's their thing, right? I'm not here to talk about that, because again, very much not important. But I am privileged to be in a country where I am blessed with this opportunity to do what I do to inspire others without having to go through the BS that's going on in other parts of the world, right? We can talk about the things that are wrong here, but I also have to understand that I am in a very privileged place right now as far as the opportunities and advantages that I have here. Now, let's go ahead and let's get back to what we're talking about. So, being a volcanic tidal wave of emotions. So, a lot of the time, if I'm going through, those events that are going on in the world, and even stresses that are going on in my personal life. You know, the work does, you know, as much as I have fun doing this and as much as fun as I have creating content and doing what it is I love to do, you know, trading, spending time with my family, spending time with friends, there are stresses that are going to come about on a day-to-day basis, on a month-to-month basis, on a year-to-year basis. You know, and I don't judge that those stresses do come. I don't wish for those stresses to not end, because without those stresses, I certainly don't believe that we can become diamonds when we're not put in that pressure situation where things are as easy. In fact, you know, they help us build strength. But it does not negate the fact that stresses are indeed something that is not pleasant to deal with, and some things that can cause emotions within inside me to rise and boil. And I say all this rising, this boiling, these stresses, these things that can cause all this stuff, all these emotions. And take it from a fire sign. Again, we'll dive into that subject a little bit later here on the show, journey, podcast, whatever you want to call it. But I am also a fire sign, and you know, I do feel that I am one who is inspired to be energetic, you know, action oriented, doing the things, and sometimes doing many a thing at many a time. But again, it does cause the stress, this boiling of emotions, this rising of emotions to come up. We all have it inside us to varying degrees. You know, some are very stoic in their emotions. I'm not one to say I'm not that stoic. You know, I do feel a bit of stoicism here from time to time, but I'm certainly not the master of it. But that's okay, because, you know, there are other people out there that have this stoicism principle that are much better at it than I am, that can speak to that. But what I will say is, to have these emotions and to have this stress and to have this level of caring is indeed a beautiful thing. However, if left unchecked and if left not addressed, it can go ahead and allow us to get to a place where our volcanic eruption does happen, and we may do things that we may end up regretting in the future. So, I come on here to talk about all this stuff to instill just a quick couple of tricks and tips in order to make sure that your volcano, for lack of a better word, does not erupt. Number one, if you are feeling very stressed right now in a very stressful situation, then what I'd like you to do is, wherever you are at, whatever work you are doing, whatever interaction that you are doing with, I want you to go ahead and stop that interaction. I want you to go ahead and recognize, wait a minute, I don't need to put myself in a place that's going to allow me to get to a point where I am going to boil and explode and take it out on something or do something that is not productive for both the other party and myself. You are free to do that. You are free to go, right? And it could be so, what's the word I'm looking for? Bizarre, maybe out of reality, because, well, what if it's a work situation, or what if it's a family situation? At the end of the day, if you allow yourself to explode in that situation, would the result be any different? No. More than likely, the explosion will be worse than if you just walked away from the situation. Sometimes it does need to happen. Then number two, do you walk away from that situation? Contemplate on what's bothering you. Contemplate on if there's anything that needs to be addressed, explained, or perhaps it's just a situation where it's an unwinnable situation, and you do just need to go away. You just need to walk out of that situation permanently. Now, I'm not saying that all of these actions can be taken immediately, but these are things that you have to keep in consideration in order to make sure you are checking on yourself periodically. And then lastly, a quick tip before we wrap this up is to meditate. Meditate is probably one of the best things that you can do in order to be still, be inside your space, and not be influenced by the external circumstances of things happening around you. So with that being said, everybody, we're going to go ahead and go. Before we do that, I've got 3 very important words for you. Be great, be favored, and be the person that you desire and that you're destined to become. Thank you.